Are you using artificial intelligence the right way inside your salon? Hi, I'm Kayla Swanson, and I'm your host of High Performance Salon Academy's Profitable Salon Podcast. And today I get the pleasure of having the founder of High Performance Salon Academy on with me, Jason Everett. What's up, Jason?
Yeah, let's go, Kayla. Let's talk about AI, man. That is the subject.
It is the subject. It is it's up and coming. You know, like a couple years ago, we've had a couple podcasts about AI, and it's the conversation even about AI is just evolving and evolving and evolving.
Correct. And I think it's one of those things, right? Like I was talking to somebody like, oh, I was talking about AI a year ago. I'm like, yeah, so is everybody else. And like, if you're not still talking about it, that's kind of the problem. AI wasn't like tick the box.
Literally.
Like a year and a half, 2 years ago, right when ChatGPT came out, I said, okay, I'm going to do a class to get people started. And if you're listening to this and you're like behind the tech learning curve and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to use it, like get on board. You're going to get left behind if you don't. Literally. That's a really, really important thing. But we've been using it heavily for the last year and a half, 2 years. We're really getting to the point now with the salons that we work with that the goal is becoming not, are you using it, but are you using it correctly? Yeah. Is that, are you using it in the way that most people are? Because a lot of people are learning it and they're like, oh, it's like Canva. I use it enough and now I'm good. I'm like, no, it's changing. Like by the week, by the day, there's Literally. So many incredible things that most people don't even understand that are getting released that just they don't get. And I'll give you an example of this because some of you guys might have been playing with this. Nice. I posted little action figures of our High Performance Salon Academy mentors, right? I don't know if you saw that not too long ago. But it was one of those things where I thought it was very funny. As I saw a wave, I saw a couple people post the action figures of people. And then I figured out what I was doing. I did it and I posted my little action figures and I was really proud of myself and it was good. And then about, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks later, I started seeing other people try to create action figures. And like the first wave was really good, only from like the highest end people who figured out what was going on right out the gate. Right. Which I was on that short list, not to pat myself on the back too hard, but I was on the short list. And then within a couple of weeks, people were posting all their like weird action figures that came out. They're like, what happened? And what was happening is people were doing it the wrong way. Is they were using a prompt to create an action figure, and they were like, they were getting like, oh, please create a action figure of Casey that I can be in my own little box. And they were trying to prompt it to do that. And then it would be like Casey, and it would have nothing to do with the person. Like our action figures had like, blow dryers and clippers and, business books and all kinds of stuff in there thing. And it was always appropriate, right. But it's because of how I actually cued it. What I did is I uploaded somebody else's action figure as an inspiration. I said, build me an action figure exactly like this. And I gave some detailed instructions and it created these really incredible action figures. But the people who did it after the fact, they were actually having a lot of problems with it. Were just saying, can you create me, Jason Everett, as an action figure? Go, do your thing, ChatGPT, or everybody calls it something cute. They're like, my little chatty chat friend or my chitty chat or whatever. And I'm like, look, guys, it is a cute little accessory. Cute. But what I want to make sure that we're doing here is that what we want to be sure to do is make sure that as you're using ChatGPT, you understand how to use it as a very powerful business tool. Yeah. It's like making your Ferrari a planter box in your yard. Because you're like, oh, it's so cute. I put some plants in it. Like it's not really what it's meant for to just do that. And so there are some toys, but I want to remind you that, when you play and learn, it's really fun. And there's probably some ways you're using it now that like very quickly going to get left in the dust or get antiquated and not be something that's very helpful. So I have a lot of tips today. And hopefully as we go through this podcast, short and sweet podcast, I'll give you some really good tools that I just recently spilled the beans on at a couple different conferences. And if you want, and you send me the word AI, I'll send you a bunch of really cool tips about AI and how you can use like 21 different tasks to do through AI that you're probably not using. And I'll give you some good resources if you want to send me a message. So I'd be happy to talk about that.
Nice. We'll put the number in the description so you can send us a message and we'll be able to offer that to you. Because I feel like, like nowadays, like before the conversation was like, are you using AI? No, I never heard of it. Or no, not really.
But or not using it yet.
Yes, exactly. Not using it yet. And now we're getting to the point when like everybody is using it. But if you aren't involved in learning it and adapting to it and learning the right way in which to use AI, then you're going to just be on a slower train in order to get there. Yeah. If you're learning how to use it in the right way to make it work for you, not just to be in like, this cute little program. Because if you don't realize it's
how powerful it actually is.
It literally is revolutionary and we're able to, what we can do with it. And a lot of people like, I know Jason, you've talked to this before. People are like, oh, it's going to replace jobs and things like that. But you said something, tell them what you said the other day about how it's not going to replace, it's going to.
It's an enhancement. So I really do believe it's a bionic enhancement. And, we are in this world. I mean, we're not quite to like Terminator or Skynet sort of scenario yet, but we are in this enhancement. Yeah, I don't know if that's coming, but I think the idea is that it is a bionic enhancement for you. And I'm really excited about it because there's so many good things about how this works. And if you're one of those people who like, I don't want to give my information to China or whatever your issue is that you're worried about, I would just say, listen, there's going to be two camps in the future: people that are using AI and learning it, and people that are just fighting it. And there was a lot of people that fought cell phones. I don't want to have a phone with me everywhere I go, or I don't want to have the internet in my pocket. I'd rather have my flip phone. Like, there's always those people, and you got to decide. Just being really candid, I think a lot of times salon owners end up on that laggard part of the technology learning curve, is because, you're not working on a computer every single day inside the salon. Maybe if you're the owner, you're in front of a computer a little bit more often, but you're like, well, I can use my phone, I can use my iPad. Why do I need a laptop? I don't use it very often. And I think AI is the same way. It's like, yes, might be able to like find some recipes or do some fitness instruction. You're like, oh, or I'm kind of playing around with AI. But what if I told you that you could write an entire associate training program on your AI in just a few minutes? What if I told you that you could have it do an entire training for you on how to get your staff to dress the way you want them to dress inside the salon? And it's really more about, are you using AI as a way to bionically enhance your reality and help you get 10 times more done than other salon owners? Or are you going to make the excuse you don't have time to get things done? Because that excuse is starting to go away. Now it's not a manpower issue, it's a brain power issue. And the way I'm looking at AI is closing the gap on that brain power issue. And it's giving me 10 times the brain power that I had before, which, if you're smart, and if you're listening to this podcast, clearly you are, that like, if you're smart, you want to enhance your intelligence and make it do some incredible things. So I'd love to get into some of that stuff.
Nice, for sure. I mean, if you think about like Google, like I know a lot of people who use AI, like just an upgraded version of Google, but this is not just a program that you ask questions to. It's like learning how to ask the right questions and to give it, because all the information builds on itself. Like you ask Google, you clear that search and you ask something else, they're just going to ask something else. But AI builds upon itself. So I'm super stoked to start diving into some of the greatest tips and tricks to use artificial intelligence in the right way. So Jason, let's get into that.
Yeah, so let me just start from this. As we're saying artificial intelligence generically, referring to an entire genre. It's like saying the internet instead of saying like Google or Yahoo or LinkedIn or Facebook or something. So let's just dive a little deep. I'm going to stay on the surface for a second. I promise I'm going to go deeper as we go, okay? Number one is I want to talk about ChatGPT. Why am I talking about ChatGPT? Well, for the most part, it is the most robust platform that's out there so far. I've done a lot of DeepSeek. I've done GPT. I've done Gemini. I've done a lot of the other tools that are out there that are available. And what I found is that there's a way to interact with GPT that a lot of the other platforms don't offer yet, that is really profound. And it really allows a lot of image modeling, and it's starting to get into video modeling and a lot of large language model sort of scenario. What all that really means is you can talk and have a conversation with it. But like on a basic level, we're going to talk ChatGPT. And a lot of people are like, which one? What model? Like literally you go to the App Store, you type in OpenAI. OpenAI is the parent company. Well, technically Microsoft is the parent company, but OpenAI, and they own ChatGPT. And you're just looking for a little logo. I'll hold it up if I can do it. Let's see if I can hold it up. It just is this little, is this going to work? Totally not going to work. Anyway, it's this little logo. It looks like kind of like a white logo with a black flowery looking thing on it. It says ChatGPT. Most people know what that is, but if you're not using it, that's the one you're looking for. And what we're trying to do is we can do this in the free version. There's a paid version for $20 a month at $200. I don't get anything for referring people to ChatGPT. I'm just bringing this up. Okay. Is that all of a sudden you go on the screen and it gives you some really incredible resources. And I'll do my best to kind of show you and tell you, because I know some of you guys listen to this on audio. Is if you're in the paid version, there's a regular search, a deep research, and you can also upload photos, access the camera, you can upload files, you can do quite a bit. And you can either type in with your thumbs and just literally say, hey, I have a question, I'm asking it. Or you can hit the little microphone button and speak into it, which by the way is like the most time-saving hack on planet Earth. And then there's another little like speakery looking button that looks like a voice module, and you can actually talk and go and have a back and forth conversation with it. So basic premise, if you've never done it, congratulations, you're up to speed. If you are like, Jason, why are you teaching me all these basics about ChatGPT? Hold on to your butt. I got more for you. I'm not scared. I can walk all over the place with this thing. So my point is that's what we're talking about on ChatGPT. Now, what you want to do is, like, unlike using a search where you just want to ask it one question, you can do a follow-up in a series and a whole setup. So let me tell you one of my favorite interactions I recently did. I was hiring a new assistant. And what I did is I put ChatGPT on the voice module mode, which I'm going to show you right now. And we're going to have a little chat together. And I spent an entire hour at a drive, was in Texas, and I had to drive somewhere for an hour. And I was like, how can I be productive? Maybe you're psychotic like me and you want to be productive all the time. I'm always looking to be more productive. So I'm in the car and I'm like, how do I be productive? I'm like, all right, let me do this. So I go, what? And I'll show you exactly what I did. And I'm not going to have the whole conversation, but I want to just show you what I did. So I put it in voice module mode where it will talk back to me and have a conversation. And I'm going to show you what I did and basically have this conversation.
Nice.
hey, I'm looking to hire a new executive assistant, and I'm trying to make sure that I hire the right person. And if you can, what I'd like to do is have a back and forth conversation with you about this new assistant. Can you ask me 20 specific questions that will build the right profile so that we can use the psychographic and demographics of a profile to build out two things. One, a job description, and then two, a interview profile that will give me 3 rounds of interviews that I can put together for this person and find out if they're the right fit. Can we work on that together?
Absolutely. Let's get started. Here are the first few questions to help us build a solid profile. 1. What are the top 3 responsibilities you expect your executive assistant to handle?
Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. Use promo code HPSA for your first 2 months free. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
So you get the idea that what I can do is I can ask those questions. By the way, all those questions get saved inside this chat, and it can ask me all these specific things that it wants to ask. And it's starting to list me all the questions. I can say, just ask me one of those at a time. Ask it, wait for my answer, then reply. Ask it, wait for my reply, then answer. Then I can say, can you build me an entire profile based on that? And we have a back and forth conversation. Can you ask me each of those questions that you have one at a time, please? And I'll answer and get back with you. Oh, I did the wrong setting. So I did the speak into it setting where it won't actually speak back. Let me try that one more time. Get rid of that whole chat. But the idea, what I want you guys to catch as I'm having this conversation is that I can have this back and forth conversation. And just like, let's pretend, just think of it for a second. If I had my actual assistant in the car with me and I'm like, hey, Kayla, you're taking notes. Let's go. And you're like, hey, Jason. And if you were an infinitely knowledgeable wisdom source, if you're like, hey, Jason, let me ask you some questions that would help me create a profile. I'll build a profile for you. I will help you create the interview questions and do all this in real time with you right now. But unlike having an assistant with you, it's thinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I can also do things like ask it this way. Let me just do this. Can you act like a professional recruiter for me and ask me all the appropriate interview questions so you can make sure that you could hire and place the exact same person and use all the skills from any books or knowledge you can find to make sure that we appropriately recruit that perfect person I want to hire? Would that be okay? And what suggestions do you have for me?
Of course, I'd be happy to help you as a professional recruiter. We can structure the interview process and questions to identify the ideal candidate who fits your needs. Here's how we can approach it. 1.
Okay. So you get the idea. Now I'm back and forth having a conversation with GPT, and I can say, great. And again, if I wanted to prompt it a different way, I could just speak into it and say, can you please build me the list of 25 questions you would ask me to get to know the answers that I have in order to do that. Right. I just did the speak into it part. It doesn't have to respond to me. Now I'm going to hit go ahead and do it. And now it's actually building the list of 25 different questions that I want to have. Now, like I said, I can just have it ask the questions and I can answer those questions and just give it those answers, or I can do the back and forth conversational mode, which starts to have all that. So this is like, what belief would be most true that you feel most people misunderstand? Is somebody can only remember one thing about you? What would that be? What's your personal mission that drives everything that you do? And like, it's really working as a professional recruiter to interview me in order to get that stuff done. Yeah. So here's what most people are doing. Give me 5 interview questions that I could use to hire a stylist. Well, okay. Again, as you say, Kayla, that's cute. Like, that's a cute way to use it. But if I'm like, I got to give it the rest of the context. Act as a professional recruiter. Interview me in order to get all these questions right. And then let's build a process together. And I'm cueing it each step of the way. And I'm treating it like an actual person that can build that all out for me. Like if I could hire a professional recruiting consultant for $10,000 an hour, how would I ask appropriate questions so I wouldn't waste my time? Treat it like that, not like it's like a Google search.
Are you still guessing what your color services are actually costing you? Guessing the cost of your services is eating into your profits. With Salon Scale, you can separate your parts from your labor and charge for every drop of color used. Stop letting your back bar drain your earnings. Click the link in the description to get 10% off of your first year or start your free trial today. Salon Scale. Profit starts with every mix.
Literally. Man, it's crazy because like one of the things I also love to use ChatGPT for in that same vein is like, hey, here's my idea. Can you like poke holes in it? Like give me some, but not only that, but give me like this is what I wanting to accomplish. Can you see areas where it could go south, or other ideas of how to like navigate it, and then give me solutions. We have this thing at our office that we called 131, 1 problem, 3 solutions, and the one that we think is right. And so I like almost 131 ChatGPT of like, hey, here's my thing that I want to do. And I love what you just said, Jason, about like treat AI like it's a human being working with you and having a conversation together.
Yeah, 100%. It was kind of funny. I was watching this thing that said, do you know how much money we're wasting on saying please and thank you to ChatGPT? So like, do you know how many tokens get wasted because every word is a token? It's like how much money is wasted. But I'm like, I think it's less about saying nice things to the AI so that when the robots take over, you don't die.
Yeah.
It's less about that. It's more about reminding you that this is a utility and we're not like awkwardly prompting. Like there's this thought, and Kayla, I know you've heard me mention this, but there's something called prompt engineering. And people feel like they have to put like this, they call them super prompts and prompt engineering and all these other things. And I have a different phrase I want to talk to you. And I don't know that I like this phrase very much. Nobody really gets too excited about it except for me, but it's called sloppy prompting.
Oh,
Nobody wants sloppy prompts, but I'm going to tell you my favorite thing is to do a sloppy prompt. What I mean by that, and exactly what you said, Kayla, is I'm just going to loosely tell it what I'd like it to do. Hey, if I need to solve this problem, who would be the person I would go and ask the questions to? And it goes, oh, you would talk to a professional recruiter. Great. Act as a professional recruiter and interview me and consult with me and make sure this happens. Or if I said, man, I'm really feeling down today. I'm having a bad day. Who should I talk to about that? And it's, oh, you should probably talk to your psychiatrist. Well, what accreditations would they have? Oh, this and this and this. Great. Act as a professional psychiatrist with these accreditations and ask me some questions and be my counselor. And like, I think it's really interesting because yes, could you say be my business coach? For sure. You could say act as Jason Everett. I'll give you a generic version of me if you want to do that, just a little bit. If you don't want to hang out with me yet, maybe that's a good way to do it. It's got my book loaded into GPT and you can go read all about it, right? But the idea is that there's still a level of understanding how to prompt it. I think there's a difference between information and leverage. GPT and again, other AIs as well. Just I like that you can interact with GPT this way. Totally. It's a great way to interact and leverage the knowledge. And just be aware that sloppy prompting means it doesn't have to be perfect. It just means you can talk to it, have a conversation, and maybe you do the audio feed into it. Maybe and like you screw it up. Ahs, pauses. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just say what it does. And if it gets it wrong, either start over a new thread or tell it to fix it. Say, oh, sorry, you misunderstood me. This is what I actually meant. And let it correct and let it revise. And I recently asked GPT, I was like, hey, what percentage of users am I? And they're like, look, you're in the top 1% of 1% users. And I said, what puts me in that top 1% of 1%? And it said, because you refine and refine and refine, you keep dialing it in and dialing it in until we get the perfect answer together. Whereas most users ask a few questions and run with the advice is either good or bad. And what I will just say is like my goal, and when I first learned GPT, I said this very early on. Imagine having an assistant or a support person. By the way, I've had an assistant since my first assistant I had when I was 17 or 18 years old. Wow. My very first job, I had an assistant. And I've had an assistant since then, and I'm 44. So there's been a lot of assistants I've been through, right?
Kidding.
But one of the things about an assistant is if my assistant brings me something and I'm like, nah, do it again. And I do that 2, 3, 4 times. That assistant's like, F you, Jason. How can you not like my work product? Like, this is garbage. You're not giving me my expectations. You know who doesn't do that? AI. GPT. GPT is like, hey, you need another revision? No problem. No problem. And I got used to feeling like it just said, no problem, no problem, no problem. Because I'm like, nah, I didn't get it right. And it didn't come in and say, well, you didn't ask for that. I gave you exactly what you asked for, jerk. And like, there's no attitude. There's no anything. It's just delivering on the promise. And so what I would just say is if you have an infinite number of resets, we can try again and again and again and again and again, and you have an infinite number of redos, how much more powerful could you potentially become? Literally. Because you're learning as you're making mistakes. So your whole job is to make as many mistakes on it as possible because it's an infinite game. You can make infinite mistakes. It doesn't get grumpy with you and it just keeps going. And you want to do that at 2 a.m. You have an idea at 2 a.m, talk to GPT for 5 minutes. You have an idea when you're getting out of the shower, talk to GPT for a minute. I literally have ideas for videos and I get out of the shower and go, I have an idea for a video that does da-da-da-da-da. Here's what I want the outcome to be, whatever. Can you work on a script for me? Put it down, finish getting dressed, do my whole thing, then go back to it and read the script and revise and revise and revise. I can't do that with a real human being. No, that's not real. No. And so if you're using GPT like a fancy Google, you're doing something wrong.
Ready to transform your business and improve your salon's profitability? With Lonza's 3-in-1 technology and intermixable shades, your hair color inventory is streamlined with limitless creativity behind the chair. Click the link below to unveil the secret to salon success.
Man, I love that there's no emotion in ChatGPT, that it's going to continue to re-evolve. And like you just said, like they're not going to get their feelings hurt when you tell them like that was absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't get tired,
doesn't get offended, all those things.
I just noticed the other day ChatGPT is like almost validated, like, oh, you were absolutely right. I did not say that correctly or whatever. Or like, thanks 100%. For catching that. And so just having a conversation with that. And like, I mean, we're talking like open your mind to so much more of what's possible. Like if you're asking small questions, ask bigger questions. Like, I need to have this hard conversation with my boss about this topic and this things. This is what I have so far. Can you tell me, like, give me 3 ways in which they would, push back on me? And like, ChatGPT can do it, and to keep pursuing bigger and better.
Is that what you asked it recently? How do I have a hard conversation with my boss? Do I need to be prepared for it? No, I'm just kidding.
You'll find out.
Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I totally am not worried about it. But what I was going to say, Kayla, is you brought up a really good point, and this is a really hot tip. I did this Ultimate AI Toolkit Masterclass I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, and if you want some access to it, let me know. Like I said, comment AI, and we'll send you some of the goodies.
Sweet.
Here's the deal. If you're an owner, you want to teach your team to come to ChatGPT before they come to you. If you're sick and tired of answering stupid questions, you're like, why am I still answering this? If you can teach your team how to use GPT, and this is the whole thing, is like actually teach your class or a class in your salon that shows your staff how to use it. So here's my hot tip for you is we were talking about this at the Data Driven Salon Summit. I said, what if you did a whole class where you showed your team how to dress appropriately for the salon? So here's how I've been using GPT, and I've just been doing this for fun. So I literally take pictures of myself in the mirror, not because I'm psychotic, but because I'm loading into GPT. Like, hey, Jason, aren't you cool today? No, but I literally am like, hey, I like this jacket, or I like these pants, or I like this whatever. I'm like, can you build me an outfit around this? And I give it some context. And I say, I'm going to be shooting a podcast today. I'm going to a conference today. I'm doing this today. And I want to look this way. I want to look fashion forward. I want to look on trend. I want to look blah, blah, blah. And it'll say, great, let's build an outfit together. And it'll build an outfit for me. And the reason why I'm saying that is you could, with your staff, get GPT to rate the outfits of your staff, but you don't rate the outfits. GPT is rating the outfits. So if you're like, is that appropriate for work? Be like, hey, here's the dress code for my work and the standard that we want to uphold to be able to be fashion forward and attract. And this is what I would say. Okay, watch this. If I said, check this out. Hey, I want to build an outfit today that I want to wear to work, and I work at an incredibly high-end luxury salon. I want to attract incredibly high-end customers. Could you help me build 3 or 4 different outfits and give me a look of how that should look on my body for a man to work inside that salon? Give me some visuals and tell me the 3 things I need to look for, and knowing a little bit that you know about me, can you build me some outfits? Like, that's it. And you show them how to do that. Then what you do is let them take pictures of each other and upload their outfit into GPT, and then ask a ChatGPT, how can I make this outfit even more high-end, even more luxe, even more appropriate for my work? And let it build you catalogs and lookbooks and basically mood boards and all this stuff. And like now, and again, this is the piece that my brain works a little differently than most. You guys might be like, yeah, I was using it for my outfits. I'm like, but did you think to teach your staff to do it so they stop asking you, is this appropriate? Because what if you could literally say, hey, run that outfit by GPT and see what it says. Like, just see if it says appropriate for work. Instead of you being like, I have to write a policy that says no mini skirts or whatever it is, like, ask it and just say, what would, if I want that fashion forward look, what would it be? Dang. And it's just such a powerful thing. It's doing right now. It's building out my visuals for that whole thing. But hopefully, I know it's been a short and sweet podcast, but hopefully it's been really, really helpful for you guys. Dude. If you want more tips on AI, please do me a favor. Drop me a comment on the video for this and say AI. Go find me on social on Jason Everett or at Jason Everett or at highperformancesalon.com or at High Performance Salon, I should say. Nice. And send me a comment. I'll gladly give you guys more tips on AI and give you some more resources if you're after them.
I feel like we could talk about this topic for a long time. It's going
to I could do like evolving. A week on this subject.
Yeah, I know. So stick with us. We'll be continuing to evolve ourselves in AI to be able to educate you on how to use artificial intelligence in the right way. And that means just don't put yourself in a box. Not only like take the information that you know now and know that it's just going to expand and get better and better and evolve. So evolve with it. Ask bigger questions. Ask the questions that you aren't sure if you can. Just play with it. I know one of my favorite things that Jason usually says, like, take AI to lunch with you. And go and just experience it and just learn how it works. And it will also learn you, which is another thing that I love, is that it is picking up on like what it's learning how you operate too, which is really nice. So that is all the time we have.
Here's my looks. Oh, I got some looks. Look at that.
Dang.
I got some swanky Jason looks if I want to pull those off.
That is some elevated salon and attire for sure.
Elevate. And again, if I'm like, that's too formal for my salon, what else could I do? So
see, and then you ask it, be like, oh, great job. Now bring it to this level, or ask a different question. Man, this has been really fun. That is all the time that we have for today. Jason, always a pleasure having you on the podcast. And if you got a lot of value out of this, drop some comments, reach out to us. All of our socials and everything will be in the description. If you want the AI, the 21 tips?
21 tips on how you can use AI inside your salon. Yep.
Beautiful. If you want that, reach out to us in any capacity, say AI, and we would love to get that over to you. Jason, this is short and sweet and amazing. Woo! Thank you for hanging out with me. We'll see you next time on the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast.
You've been listening to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and check us out at ProfitableSalon.com for more episodes, content, and to help you turn your salon into the business you've always dreamt of.